This is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I just barely got started with this game, and as you can see, it's a little different from previous Borderlands games. This is not what the game looks like all the time. This is the overworld. So it's got a little bit of a, I don't know, maybe a JRPG-like overworld where, you know, when you're walking through high grass, you can sometimes bump into random encounters. You've got quest givers out here sending you to certain places. But whenever you actually engage in something, it usually plays out more like a Borderlands level. In fact, so this guy right here has just given me a quest and has insinuated that he's going to stab me in the back at the end of the quest, which sounds great. So I'm going to go and try to complete that quest. This is one of my lunch break streams, and I've got a hard out at 1 o'clock, so hopefully we'll be able to make some progress in the next 45 minutes. Hey there, Cogs and Coalition and Malator. Thank you for joining me. And of course, Ranacord is already here. So, because I'm obsessive and a hoarder, I can't avoid just punching and breaking and collecting everything I possibly can, even in the old overworld.
Coruscating Majesty, Queen Butstallion, has long protected the Wonderland.
Okay.
The soul magic she imbues into the land.
It's an audio log. Great.
Such a precious role requires guarding as well, as proven by the terrible events at Dragon Keep. And so, the Queen founded a new walled city from which to oversee her realm. Brighthoof, the seat of the adamant throne.
So the dialogue in a Borderlands game is important. So I've tried to turn it up a little bit so that you can hear what people are saying. Let me know if that works for you. And yes, he did mention a character named Queen Butstallion. The basic setup of this game is it's a Borderlands game, but it is a fantasy game that is basically it's basically a role-playing game being run by Tiny Tina, one of the weirdest and most popular characters in the franchise. And so this is just a game she's playing with some friends, and that's got kind of an interesting effect on the experience because, you know, most Borderlands games, they're very tongue-in-cheek, but they do have a plot. They do have something that's going on. Some bad guy has showed up, is doing something terrible, and you have to foil them. And the characters are deeply invested in it. They have something to lose. There's stakes. So far, my ability to invest in the game has been a little bit limited by the fact that they're constantly undercutting the stakes, because this is just a game that Tiny Tina is running with some of her friends, and you're sort of goofing around, and she deliberately undercuts the importance of the story all the time, like, you know, by just like making it all feel really, really fake. And so I'm not sure what effect that's going to have in my sort of overall immersion in the game and my investment in the game because the stakes are so low. I don't know if that's going to change at some point.
Get in there and clear the place out, even if it brings you to the brink of death, leaving you totally vulnerable.
So yeah, so a lot of the game that I've experienced so far, outside of the very beginning, appears to be, what is this? Some kind of, is this a jump pad? What is this? Nope, it's bad. I don't know, I don't want it, whatever it is. So you can see that a lot of like the combat in the game takes place in these sort of dedicated combat areas. They feel like little arena battles. And this isn't the entire game. There are definitely story quests that are more sort of planned out. Oh gosh. Okay, so this badass skeleton knight is after me. Let me switch to my, oh gosh! My freeze gun! Yes, take that. You can freeze, and here's some poison too. Eat poison. So you can see it's basically a Borderlands game. Ooh, something purple. It's basically a normal Borderlands game in that, you know, you're running around with like a bunch of cel-shaded enemies, shooting them with guns, only they're fantasy-flavored guns that look like either sort of magical spells or, in this case, a crossbow. The crossbow bolts have ballistic trajectories, by the way, which makes it very difficult to target enemies. All right, so I can rely on my radar in the upper right-hand corner to tell me where the remaining enemies are. Hello. It's a relentless skeleton. What does that mean? It looks like maybe it means they fall down at the drop of a hat and then get back up again. Who else? Oh, gosh! So I love that. My reload animation for that gun is sprinkling magical crystals into it. Okay, it looks like I've completed the encounter. Usually there's some kind of prize at the end of completing the encounter, right? Where's my prize? Ooh, wait a minute. Is it through this door? No, not through the door. Is it beyond the door? There we go, it's beyond the door. Finish this, get some prizes, and let's have a look at our prizes. So it's got traditional Borderlands stuff going on here. So it looks like we've got a new melee weapon. Let me compare it to my old one. Its item score is only 1 higher, but it does more damage per hit. Yeah, its attack speed is slower. But, melee attacks restore my spell cooldown. So the class that I have is I am a spell weaver, which means that like firing spells off very often is actually one of my favorite things. So yeah, I'm gonna use that melee weapon instead of the old one. This gun doesn't seem very exciting. What else did I just pick up? There's my old sword. I'm just gonna mark things as trash. Oh wait, I think this was the last spell that I had before. What was this one then? It's less damage per second than my current spell. So, I don't know. I don't get it. Oh, here's another new thing. What's this? Guard of... Oh, it's just another shield. Okay, whatever. So, it's kind of funny. You've got the same exact types of items that you had in previous Borderlands games. You know, you got your guns. Oh, you can't really see here. You got your guns. You have a melee weapon, which I think is actually new. This is what happens when you get up close to an enemy, you click the stick. It used to be that different guns had sort of different melee stats if you used the gun as a melee weapon. Now they've got a whole separate category of weapon that determines what you do in melee, which makes sense for a fantasy theme. They've got your shield, like always. They call it a ward in this case instead of a shield because it's magical. And then instead of grenades, you've got spells. So because I'm a spell weaver, I think I get 2 slots for spells. Let's have a look here. So I've just leveled up, and so I've got 1 skill point and 1 hero point that I can spend. So let's look at our skills. Magic bullets increases my spell damage, and so since I'm a very spell-focused character, that makes sense. I can also increase my reload speed. Let's go with spell damage. That feels like it's more the focus of my character. And let's look at my hero stats here too. So I got 1 point to spend on hero stats. And so you can see I've got role-playing stats, constitution, attunement. Intelligence makes you able to use spells more often, which I have kind of been throwing a lot of my points into. So I'm going to do that again. And then, yeah, so I just noticed in my inventory, I've got a second slot down here that just opened up. I think this is because I leveled up. Does this mean that I can actually have two spells at once? Well, let me try this one. No, I can't put it in that slot. Well, what goes in this slot? What is this slot for? It's for something I don't have yet. Okay, well, I've got a new slot. I don't know what to do with it. That's okay. I'm very early in the game still. Ooh, okay. So instead of just having a lot of like random encounters and stuff that you have in the game, like that you find in the overworld, they just lead to one little encounter like that, and then you go through the door, and then you're back on the overworld map. It looks like I've just entered an area that's actually got a series of encounters. So this is a very sort of like, there's lots of different ways that an RPG can work, right? You can think of it as just a continuous story that you and your friends are telling together. You can also kind of break it up and have it be, and think of encounters as being these discrete events that happen. And it looks like this game is going more for the encounters are discrete events scenario. So it's being very, very blatant about sort of structuring the game around the idea that that each counter is discrete. It does make them, because they're not really tied into, because they're not really sort of strung together with like a continuous story, that does have a tendency to make them feel a little bit inconsequential. It's like, it's kind of strange because really, technically the gameplay is the same. Like, if I had been wandering through an open world like in a traditional Borderlands game. Oh gosh. And I just encountered these guys on the way to a destination, that would have felt very natural, and it would have felt like part of the story of that quest. Like, oh, I got to get through these guys before I can get to the place. And I'd be able to sort of see my destination or know where it is. And I'm trying to get past some resistance first. Oh, it looks like my inventory's full. I need to figure out what to do with my spare inventory. Because, yeah, I just unlocked a bunch of stuff, or, you know, got rewarded with a bunch of stuff, but I don't have space in my inventory for it anymore. Ooh, but the main thing I wanted was this. Yeah, so I showed up in this spot.
Totally.
Girls say what?
Anyway, I just let the characters talk for a sec.
That's probably just a...
Anyway, so if that had been like, you know, if there'd been a big open world that I ran through where I went up a hill, went into a ruin, and as I went deeper and deeper into the ruin, I encountered, you know, an array of skeletons, that would feel more like a traditional Borderlands game. Instead, you kind of imagine your journey through that castle, and you play through a couple of discrete encounters, and oh,
Mool would surely grant you fabuloso well if you completed her shrine.
this guy just got stabbed in the back. Anyway, let me finish my thought, and then we'll see what happened to this guy. But yeah, so it definitely has a different feel, and it makes each stage of it feel a little more inconsequential. It's like I'm sort of, I'm completing a checklist. And the thing that's interesting to me is the fact that it doesn't feel as good to just have these random encounters or these discrete encounters drop in and sort of simulate the idea of fighting through enemies on my way into a castle. It definitely does not feel as good as actually penetrating a castle and playing through the entire process. But it's kind of curious to me that, like, why doesn't it feel as good? I mean, is it just, you know, because technically I did all of the same actions, almost all of the same actions. I had to defeat a bunch of enemies. I had to move from place to place. And if anything, they just simplified it and shortened it. But it still doesn't feel quite the same.
Mool would surely grant you fabuloso well if you completed her shrine.
And it's just interesting how this game is sort of like really sort of pushing at the boundaries of like what feels like you're playing through a story and what does not, you know? And so like, this is a little bit of a criticism of the experience, but at the same time, I think it's interesting that they've done this. They decided to take a Borderlands game and have it not be an open world game that has got sort of traditional level design and all the sort of focal points where you play through most of the missions. And instead they've structured it out of like a bunch of discrete maps that you sort of like just pop in to have combat encounters and then pop out again to this overworld map. And exploring that better, I mean, I think it's been a worthwhile thing to sort of see what this feels like, and I'm definitely going to play this a lot more to sort of keep seeing how it feels, because I don't know really what the mix is between things that, you know, like parts of the game that feel more like a traditional video game and parts that feel more like you're just dropping in for brief combat encounters, because there's aspects of it that make it almost feel like a mobile game. Because that's sort of the kind of structure you'll often have in a mobile game, where you sort of drop in for brief encounters. You can always, you know, you get out of them quickly, and it makes the game very put down and pick up. Like, is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands going to become a game that I keep running on the side while I'm doing my work, and during little gaps, I come in and just play through a combat encounter because I know that my sessions with this game are always going to be very short. I've been using, you know, XCOM style tactical games for that, but maybe this is a shooter that can fit into that category because it doesn't have that open world continuity. Instead, it's got these discrete combat encounters which begin and end fairly fast. So it's interesting. Like, it's different from a Borderlands game, and if I'm going at this game for a Borderlands experience, it doesn't seem to be providing it so far. But it's providing something else that maybe has its own independent value. So I don't know. Anyway, let's see what happened to this guy.
Huh. Didn't see that coming.
Maybe he stabbed himself?
Mysteries like these course in rivers throughout the universe. Anyhoozle, once the shrine is complete, you get the reward all to yourself.
So, yeah, so this guy, when I first encountered him, he gave me...
Mool would surely
Oh.
grant you fabuloso well
Yes, I know, Tina. I know, you've said that twice now. Anyway, when I came over here, he made a bunch of suggestions, like hints about him being, people having stabbable backs. So what I assumed was I was going to bring him that shrine piece that he wanted, and then he was going to stab me in the back, and that we were going to have a fight. The fact that I show up and he has been stabbed in the back was not what I expected, and I've got no idea where that's going. But
Moolah would surely grant you well if you completed her shrine. Moolah, the patron god of cash money, smiles upon your pockets and succeeds.
okay, so I've completed a shrine. I don't know what it does, and I'm not sure. I mean, it seems like so when I first came up here, this thing, it had 2 symbols hovering over its turrets. There were 2 missing. I found one of the missing pieces over here, and the other missing piece I got by following that quest. And I'm apparently I'm getting some benefit from this now that I've completed it, but I've got no idea what it is, and I don't know how to find out. So, No One Mai pointed out that the animation for reloading my freeze gun was, sprinkling little crystals into it, and No One Mai points out. Stop it. I feel like maybe I should turn the volume down on the characters talking, because this is going to happen all the time. Tiny Tina loves to narrate. Even, all of her missions that you went on in previous Borderlands games mostly involve her just narrating and talking with her weird way of speaking. Kind of odd, dialect that she decides to use. Yeah, that's like most of the fun of her character is how she phrases things. I don't know how much of that I'm going to want to listen to through an entire game. We'll see. Okay, so here's a gate. All right. So maybe this will take me to a larger scale level. We'll have to see.
Magic time!
Newbie, don't worry, those jerks at the table can't hear me. It's just us down here. Hey, I know I'm the villain, but I still just wanted to wish you luck on the whole quest thing. Not that you need luck, right? I mean, you're the fate maker.
Okay, so I'm going to sell all my stuff. There we go. Now my inventory is way less crowded. And I think I've just dumped everything into this vending machine. That's fine. I'm not that interested in shopping right now. So this does look like it's a larger level that might have more to do with the story. So, oh yeah, there's a rainbow up there. So this place must be important.
Before you rise the mighty walls of Greathoof. But you're not the only new arrival. A massive skeleton army is sieging the city!
Oh no!
Catapults! Scallymans! Scally ships! There's bombs raining down!
That is a lot of enemies separated from me by a canyon, which I appreciate. So the basic story of this isn't important, but I think the idea is that there is this dragon guy who tried to enslave the kingdom. He was stopped by Queen Butt Stallion, and this is Queen Butt Stallion's home. And it looks like Dragon Guy, early on, I accidentally helped him escape.
Skelly ships land on the beach, unloading evil cargo of skellymens and skellywomens.
And so now we're trying to deal with the consequences of my failures. As you often are in games like this. Oh, hello. But yeah, it is interesting how, in an open world game, you can fight the same enemies again and again and again, and it kind of feels normal. You're like, oh yeah, well, these enemies live here, and I'm exploring this place, so of course they're around. And it just feels really normal. For some reason, the fact that these encounters are sort of split up into being these sort of discrete experiences, it makes the individual encounters, instead of feeling like, oh yeah, this is just part of this big, huge open world that I'm enjoying being in, when I don't have that sense of being in an open world, it does make sort of the scenarios run together a little bit more. Be like, oh yeah, another skeleton encounter. Here we go, you know. However, there's some specific skeleton types that are being introduced for the first time in this one. By the way, now that we're in the middle of combat, how's the audio? Let me know if I need to reduce the volume or anything. Whoa.
You'll have to do better than that.
All right. Whoa, what are you doing? Ah, that guy's gonna explode on me. That's not good. I keep shooting over these guys' heads because I kind of expect more like bolt drop, more sort of ballistic trajectory stuff than is actually going on. And so I end up aiming high in order to hit their heads, and then I just go over. And then the recoil doesn't help at all because the recoil is high enough that it also kind of shoves my my crosshair up a little bit. These guns are definitely, because they're sort of weird and magical, they're definitely harder to use than guns in previous Borderlands games. Like most Borderlands guns are traditional hit scan weapons, whereas all the guns that I've fired so far have projectiles that take a that move at a certain speed with certain physics. Let's poison this guy. Yeah, don't shoot me with your thrown sword. I'm sorry, Tiny Tina, I was busy picking up all the loot, and I was not paying attention to the events that you're narrating. Oh, wait. There's a big chest over here. So Steve-O was wondering if we still do official live streams with the State of Decay team, and yes, we do. They're typically 2 Mondays a month. Like the first and third Monday, I believe, is when we usually do it, though sometimes we cancel them or move them around for whatever reason. Oh, wait, what?
Though his armor is scarred by 100 battles, his honor is untarnished. It's Paladin Mike!
Paladin Mike, huh? Hello.
Oi, you, citizen! Over here! I saw you fighting the undead on the beach. Glad I'm not the only one giving these bony pricks a hard time.
Quite the mouth on you for a paladin.
Do I bloody look like I've got time for manners lessons? I'm up to my codpiece in undead! They came out of nowhere!
Yeah, that's the Dragon Lord's doing. Just came from robbing his tomb, actually.
The Dragon Lord? Bollocks, we'll have to deal with him later. Right now, we have to break this siege. The undead have catapults lobbing skeletons over the walls. I need you to destroy them. Here, take this C4.
Tina, I know you like explosives, but can you make it more fantasy themed than C4?
Right. Good catch, yeah.
Yeah, right. Here, take this, fantasy 4.
There we go. Also, that previous one did not look anything like C4, but whatever.
I'll help the villagers get to safety. Fight through the siege fields and use that fantasy 4 to blow the catapults to Kingdom Bloody Come!
Okay. Sounds good.
There, catapult is straight ahead. Good luck, citizen.
I've really missed this part. Been too long since I conquered anything. After a few centuries, you get that conquering itch again, you know?
Oh, you really thought you were going to win, didn't you?
So yeah, the villain apparently can just talk directly to me sometimes. Not sure what's going on there exactly. Hey, stop that. Your melee attacks are unusually slow for a shooter. Though I imagine there's probably different types of melee weapons with different advantages and disadvantages. Okay, we're getting close. Yeah, that sprinkle animation is pretty cool. Oh. There went my shield. Let's run around and try not to get shot for a sec while it recharges. Ah, that guy seems tough. Okay. Let's definitely poison him. I don't know if I can... So sometimes you can freeze someone solid. I don't know what determines whether you can freeze them solid. Like, does it have to do with how much health they have? Or is there, like, a resistance they can have? Because the skeletons, I was definitely able to freeze solid. This guy, a lot less... Oh, crap. Okay, so I'm in fight for life mode now, which means I have to kill someone to get up. Whew, so I barely managed. If that guy had had more health, I would not have been able to make it. Unless I had figured out that this guy was back here, I could have maybe turned around and shot him. But from the ground, that might also have been tough. Because, yeah, Borderlands has got this interesting system where when you die, you get a chance to kill one more enemy. And if you successfully kill that one more enemy, you get to get back up. But that means that, like, if you were killed while fighting just a million tiny enemies, let's see. There we go. Ooh. Fun.
Keep blasting them back to the Grey Hells, citizen.
Okay, so Paladin Mike isn't mine, but I met this cool nerdy barista on the EchoNet, and they said I could use their B&B character if I wanted, and I was like, hell yeah! And they were like, chuffed, governor! And I was like, ooh, I'm stealing that exit too.
All right, anyway, yeah, so if you're fighting a bunch of peons, then it's great, because you just kill one more peon and you get back up again. But if you're fighting a large enemy, if you haven't almost killed them at the time you go down, you're basically screwed. So it's kind of a... It's a fun and interesting system. I really kind of like it when it's working well, but it's uneven. There's some battles for which it just does not help. Oh. Okay, let's try to slow these guys down a little bit more. Oh, what the heck is shooting at me? Okay, this guy over here. He seems like he's doing this, like, lobbing damage to me. So let's try to take care of him. Oh, gosh, hello. He wants me to go away, does he? Okay, I'm down, but somebody immediately died from a shot I'd already let off. Cool. Whew, okay. Hi! Ah! Get away from me, jerk. Oh, there's another rock troll. Okay, let's not die fighting a rock troll. Let's try to kill something else first. Maybe, oh, I'm at 6 health. Hi. Okay, maybe I should just let this guy kill me so I can come back. Oh, wait, no, he's still going through my shield. Come on, pick it up. There we go. Okay, so it seems like the poison seems to be doing well with him, and also that exploding barrel seemed to help. More poison for you! Haha!
Ooh, got a bit of healing juice here.
Alright, was that it? Are we good? What's this? I don't know. We gotta open all the crates. Open all the chests. That's what Borderlands is about. All right. Anyway, place that right there. Back up.
They've set the last catapult up on the fallen tower. Figure out a way to get over there.
Wait,
That's
where?
way too big of a jump. What if we undestroyed that last catapult and threw ourselves over?
Hey! No touching the miniatures!
What?
Launching yourself with a catapult sounds cool, so I'm gonna let it go this once.
Okay.
Once.
That's okay. If you're gonna, you know, undercut your story by making it fake, throwing in little funny bits like this where you get to screw with the story, at least, you know, it does feel like they know what to do with this, so I appreciate it.
Goblin hours to construct. I'm out here creating jobs, you know.
Like, the story doesn't feel like it has a lot of stakes, but it does have a lot of opportunities for sort of,
Oh no, evildoers, whatever shall I do?
for the kind of humor that,
Oh, shame and losing are the best.
they can, like, yeah, I don't know. It's like there's different kinds of stories, different reasons to tell stories. Sometimes it's all about the stakes and the drama, but sometimes it's just, you know, to be cute and funny. And they've definitely maximized this story for being cute and funny. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Whenever I see that, like... Oh, crap. No, die, Skeleton Archer. There you go. Yeah, that guy's just dodging my crossbow bolts.
Works every time.
Wow, that guy is relentless.
No rest for the wicked.
No rest for the wicked. Isn't that a lyric from the theme to the original Borderlands?
Wait till I re-reanimate, then you'll be sorry.
Okay. Okay, what am I doing now? We're cutting over here.
You're no match for my
Let's start at one edge. Don't get a bunch of people behind me. Oh, they're everywhere. Looks like they've got a lot of barrels around them, though.
Style equals stats every time.
Oh, what was that? Ah! Something was knocking me around. I don't see a rock troll on this one. Oh wait. Okay, I thought I saw something up there, but there wasn't anything. There's just people down here.
There's no escape.
Alright. And this guy. Who's left? Who's left? Oh, people over here. Okay. Take this. And this.
To me, you just lose waiting to be dropped.
Come on. Die. There you go. My insatiable appetite for loot does lead to some tactical mistakes sometimes. Like, somebody will spill a bunch of loot on the ground. I'm like, well, obviously the main thing I need to do is go after that loot, even if it puts me in the line of fire. Okay, yeah. If that had happened right... Oh, am I out of ammo? What? Okay, well, that's good to know. I guess I'm stuck with my freeze gun for a bit. Okay, anyway, let's blow this one up. And back off.
Sorted out those pesky catapults. That explosive glitter stuff did quite the number on them.
That'll bloody learn them. Ha! Regroup by the main gate. I can see them gathering for an assault.
Oh, good for you. See, while you're having your little heroic tantrum out there, my forces are already in the city getting ready to burn the place to the ground. Oh, this is great. We're all having fun.
I'll go through all of this. So my traditional path through Borderlands is usually
Stranded. Here's a nice bridge for you.
to just collect.
They've been waiting for that bridge to pop up. Bloody infrastructure edict finally came through.
Anyway, I'll usually, go through my loot after an entire mission. So I'll just collect it and collect it and collect it, and then I'll figure out if I got anything good.
Hey, you showed those boneheads what for? One of the Queen's waystones. No way. I've never actually seen one of these before. Are you a fate maker?
I'm a fate maker, yes.
I am. And I'm willing to sell you my autograph.
All right. I'm bloody impressed. Only heard about those in stories.
Okay, so...
The Queen's magic has unlocked more of your power as a fate maker. The Dragon Lord's armies don't stand a chance.
Ooh, class feat unlocked. Okay, so I've unlocked my class feat. This is a powerful, always-on passive ability that comes with the class. Okay, let's open it up and see what we got. Spell weaving class feat. So casting spell or reloading grants me a stack of spell weave. Okay, so yeah, so this is a thing that makes my spells better and better the more I use them. So that means that I'm going to need to really focus on making sure I'm using my spells a lot, because it's very easy to forget your spells. Because they're like grenades, you know. You think of them as being like grenades.
I don't have anything up my sleeve for this.
Blammo! A trial smashes through the gate!
Oh, that damn thing knocked the gate down! The undead are about to attack!
Oh, over here.
Stand tall, soldiers! We have a fate maker in our midst! Strike who's down our fall this day!
Okay, next wave gets some poison from me. So yeah, because of spell weaving, it feels like... So I have been saving... Here, let me take down the game volume. I have been saving my my spells for special occasions because the cooldown is so long between them. But I think that maybe I shouldn't do that, because as I stack up spell weaving, and I don't know, where does it track me stacking up spell weaving? That is something I'm not sure of. But wherever it is,
My spell is ready.
apparently my spells are supposed to get more powerful as I use them. Yeah, I don't know where we keep track of that. Okay, well, that is to be expected. Don't die. There we go. I just leveled up. That's nice. Okay, here's another victim for my next spell. Ah! Wow! He's really good at leading his targets. That was impressive. Alright. Yeah, this is probably gonna be the last thing I do before I head to my next meeting. Cast another spell. Yeah, so again, I don't see... Oh wait, at the bottom under my XP meter, I think that's my spell weaving. So let's try to cast another spell. Okay, no, it still says ×5.
Tide of skelliemans and trolls waves. You held off the assault.
Maybe 5 is the max, though?
And not one of you can give me a challenge.
Watch it, Fate Maker. You haven't even seen me try.
Over here, fate maker.
Okay, so Mike is calling me over here, but I think I'm probably going to have to wrap this up in just a sec. Let's see what Mike has to say, and then we're probably done with this session. I'm going to complete this mission on my own.
Honestly, I didn't quite believe it. But you fight like something out of a legend. Oh, you are a fate maker. Come on, we've stopped their ground assault, but there's some undead that made it into the city.
Better hurry if you're gonna stop me and save the world. I can only drag my feet destroying Brighthoof for so long.
Okay, so we're going to stop for right now just because I've run out of time. By the way, I should say hi to Eliza GGS showed up in my chat and actually was the one who pointed out where spell weaving was, and it was under my health bar. So thank you, Eliza, and welcome to my channel. Let's see here. So Noonmai says, I was watching someone play this last night and it looked so much more cartoon-like, basically like Borderlands. I'm confused. So this game definitely does have that sort of cel-shaded look. You can see if you look closely at my crossbow, it's definitely got outlines and stuff around it. If you were seeing them on the overworld is much more cartoony. It's got like bobblehead type characters on it, and so that's sort of the what am I trying to say? That's the connective tissue that sort of connects all the different parts of the game together. So when you're in the middle of a battle, it can look, especially if you're watching it like low res on a stream, it can look like any traditional shooter. But when you're playing through much shorter combat encounters on an overworld map that has got a bobblehead version of yourself on it, I can imagine that could make the game feel overall much more cartoony than it does if you just join me for this longer mission, seeing me run around like I'm in a Borderlands game. So Steva143 wants to know when this came out. So this game, it came out just a few days ago. I think I picked it up on release day, which I think was, just a few days ago. So it's pretty brand new. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, if you like Borderlands, I mean, definitely the combat is very Borderlands. The loot collection is very Borderlands. The structure of the game is where it has the biggest sort of change. And I could imagine that, different people gravitating to it in different ways. For me, it definitely sort of disrupts that sense of immersion in the world that I get from Borderlands. But, it makes each combat encounter feel a little bit more, like, unimportant, because they're just these discrete, separate things that don't feel like they belong to a larger world. But, and it also sort of undercuts the stakes of the story for the entire game to just basically be an RPG that's made up by Tiny Tina and doesn't matter. I could see the story. There's a lot of twists and turns the story could take that make the stakes feel more real. For right now, the stakes feel really not very high. But at the same time, there's trade-offs for that. That means that there's certain kinds of humor that they can do by undercutting the stakes of the story. They can be really funny. Things like, undestroying that catapult so that I can fling myself across a gap was pretty funny, and I liked that. And so it means that, you can't invest in the story in a serious way very much, but it does open up opportunities for jokes. And I was also pointing out that sort of the non-open world structure, the fact that it's much more of a bunch of discrete little combat encounters, it can make those encounters feel less important, but it also means that I can just sort of keep this game open on the side while I'm working, and if I have 5 minutes here and there, I can go and play a combat encounter and know that it will complete very quickly. So it means that it's a game that can fit into my life in different ways. So all decisions that you make in a game like this are always, design decisions are always trade-offs, right? You're usually trading some good thing for some other good thing, and you have to decide what the specific character of your game is going to be. Anyway, okay, I really am running out of time, though, so let's wrap up the video. So there's a subscribe button. There's links to other videos. Enjoy! And, yeah, I'll probably play some more of this game, though I don't know if it'll be on the stream.